This must have been quite lovely for Queen Camilla to have her children and grandchildren with her for Christmas.
Yes, yes. I think what we saw over Christmas, looking both at the documentary but also the parade to church and back, was a family that's actually got it together, finally, and at last. Because I think we saw that they included Sarah Ferguson, which I think is really important. It's the first time in 30 years that Fergie, as we all come to know her, has been invited to do that walk. She's always been at Sandringham, but rather cruelly, I always thought, set apart in a farmhouse away from the main house, eating her lunch alone. But Charles has extended this hand of friendship, of brotherly friendship, really. Andrew was there too. And I thought it was really interesting that Mike Tindall he had his arm around George at one point. And what we see in Mike Tindall now, I think, is the uncle that they've lost in Harry. He isn't an uncle, of course. He's a cousin by marriage, but he acts and is loved, I think, by the kids and all alike as the lost uncle.
Yes, I was interested, Jenny, this morning to see some of the papers echoing what you've just said, as in Mike Tindall has stepped into almost that sort of brotherly relationship with William. And obviously we saw just last week, he said in that podcast that he has a rather unkind nickname for Prince William, calling him One Pint Willie. But you have to know somebody well to know that you can take the mickey out of them without it coming back to bite you. Jenny, let's talk about that documentary about behind the scenes of the coronation, again talking about William and his relationship with Charles. One of the moments that really struck me was an incredibly tender, affectionate side of that father-son relationship we saw.
Yes, I think during the rehearsals we saw William looking at his father, and I think probably going through William's head was also, my goodness me, this is my destiny too. But he has this caring side. You can see that he cares about his father a great deal. They've become a lot closer since Harry and Meghan left. I thought the documentary as a whole was very interesting. A lot of people have said to me, oh my gosh, this is a change in strategy. It's a big PR job. But when you've done the job as long as I have, you realise that these kind of documentaries come out about every 10 years. You know, we've had one. We had one for Charles's 70th, I think, was the last occasion. But they do give you these lovely little nuggets of information about family dynamics. You know, I watch and I play bits back, and my husband said, why are you playing that back? So I just want to watch the body language, which you don't see on other occasions. And the body language between William and Charles was very telling. And similarly, between the Princess Royal and her big brother, Charles.
Jenny, I thought King Charles came across really well in that documentary. Whether it's a PR job or not, I think he's going to be loved by this nation. But what did you make of his King's speech?
I thought his speech was very spiritual. I'm personally not a spiritual person, but the underlying message was one of sheer humanity and kindness. Treat others as you would wish to be treated. And of course, he was very hot on the message of inclusivity of all religions. And underpinning the whole thing clearly was an oblique message for a plea for peace in the Middle East. He can't say it outright. And I think he demonstrated his desire for, which is his passion, is more a passion for harmony between the peoples of this world, as we are, he hopes, harmonious with nature. And I think he demonstrated that, I think, by not having pictures behind him, because everyone would say, oh my God, Harry and Meghan aren't there. He just wanted to be straight down the line, direct message for peace in this world. And what better message at Christmas?
Absolutely. Although, Jenny, your desire that people wouldn't read too much into whatever he had behind him because he chose not to have any photographs, of course, hasn't stopped people reading in to that. Because, you know, JJ, as you'll remember, as Jenny was saying, the Queen always used to have a desk behind her with lots of photographs. And we all used to pore over who's in, who's out this year, and are there pictures of Harry and Meghan. Of course, Jenny, people have been saying the fact that there was no reference to or photographs of Harry and Meghan was a snub. Are we reading too much into that?
Yes, I think so. And I think Charles would certainly think that his Christmas message, a very personal message, one that he pens himself, is not the place to rehearse arguments with his estranged son or to settle family squabbles. I mean, really, he was talking about things which were much more important than that. He was talking about the future of this planet and peace on Earth. Behind the scenes, I hope very much that perhaps there was a phone call from Harry to Charles, or maybe the other way around. I've always said that in these family breakdowns, it actually has to be the parent who's the bigger person. You've just got to man up to it. So I hope Charles picked up the phone to Harry, but I'm afraid that's going to be secret. Actually, I'm not afraid, because that's how it should be.
Yeah, so Jenny, just going back to the fact that he's welcomed, King Charles has welcomed Fergie back into the fold, but does that not spell a little bit of trouble for him regards how he treats Andrew then?
No, because I think in the last few years he's made it absolutely obvious that he still loves or regards Andrew, as his brother. He has included him in family occasions, but he's also made it absolutely clear there's no way back for Andrew as a working royal, and I think that's okay. That can work, you know. They are blood brothers, and he cares for him, but he must never contemplate the idea that. And Andrew must never contemplate the idea that he will actually have a public role, because that is not going to happen.
Well, of course, Jenny, we're looking forward to next year. Many people asking questions like, will there be a reconciliation? You've touched on that already, between Harry and his father. Will Andrew be kicked out of Windsor Lodge, which, of course, there was lots of stories about that this year. Any of your predictions, royal family predictions of what's to come in 2024?
Well, I think that it is going to be a very slow melting of the ice between Harry and Charles, not between Harry and William. I don't see that happening. I think William has actually moved on. And as I was suggesting earlier, I think he's found in Mike Tyndall that the brother that he has lost, but maybe there will be some kind of warmth again between Harry and his dad. As regards Andrew, well, there are still a lot of problems with Andrew, still a lot of allegations being made. I think that story will continue to unfurl, and I think Charles will just have to rise above it and maintain the strategy he's doing. He's my brother, but he's not a working royal.
And of course, this year will, I think, in many ways be the first year of Charles's reign, as in there aren't any massive events, you know, there's not sort of coronations and so on, and he's just sort of got to get down to the day-to-day job of being king. And then it'll be interesting to see what happens with the polls, to see if he increases or decreases his popularity. Many, many thanks to you, Jennie Bond.